So our party adventured all the way to Thistletop. In Thistletop, they were able to find Brutasmus, the hideous and angry and vile bugbear. They were looking for Shalelu. They were able to capture Brutasmus. As they delved deeper, being pulled by some kind of mystical force, they were confronted with runes and knowledge that they had long thought dead. Down below Thistletop, there was a temple to the Runelord of Greed. There, it looked like the Runelord of Wrath was trying to take over. Krut, unable to stop himself, picked up the Wrath Sword and turned into a hideous version of himself. Cassandra and Krut used their sin powers on each other, and the group was able to overpower Krut. Without a way to stop him from continuing his transformation, they were forced to seal him away deep in there. The party then headed back to Thistletop, and that's where we pick up. Storm clouds had rolled in for the past few days, raining. Everything seemed a bit bleaker, but the town, hearing the rumors of Thistletop, the goblins being pushed away, and Brutasmus being taken into custody, the people seem happy. Sadly, our heroes lost a friend. Marvolo spends the days putting back together Collodi, as the battle was brutal and did lots of damage to him. Rain has gone back to nature, accepting the loss of her friend, and their bond is very painful. Cass still working in the Rusty Dragon, putting on a smile, but we know slightly behind it, sadness. And Nexon has made a wonderful pelt out of the animal hide she had found in Thistletop, the beautiful fire pelts that were taken by the goblins. A few days have passed, and the group had agreed to kind of rejoin and just lay some flowers down at like a little shrine. There, the party gives their gifts to the memory of their friend. Again, the clouds, it seems that the seasons are changing and it seems to be getting darker a little earlier, or maybe that's just your attitudes, but who knows? People pass to smile and wave and cheer you on as you are the heroes of Sandpoint. You stop the goblin raid, stop the goblins and Brutasmus from attacking the town. Yet you don't feel like heroes. It's still very hard. Cass, we pick up with you back in the Rusty Dragon. It's late into the evening. The crowds have gone home. Your friends are back into their houses. And the door flies open. A woman steps in. She looks ragged, her clothes torn, and you recognize her. This is Catherine Vendor, one of the daughters of Vin Vendor, the local merchant. She looks frantic. She looks around the room, seeing you. She rushes to your side, grabs you by the hand, looks you in the eyes, and says, "Help! Help, please! They're not alive. They're dead. It's," and she passes out.
So do I know where she like lives and
Yes. You guys have been in this town long enough. You know where the vendors live. It's fairly large house. It's one of the larger houses. He is Vin Vendor, the father, is one of the more wealthier merchants in the town. So it's not hard to find.
Okay, I'm going to everyone's at their house. Okay, I'm going to call for help and like sort of prop her on on a chair and sort of wave in front of her face. And as soon as someone comes, I'm going to say, please look after her. She came in calling for help. We're going to help her. And if she mentions, things that were, not alive, she came to us because we're the heroes, not for any other reason would she come to me. Okay, I'll be back. And then I'm going to fetch my Rod of Wonder quickly as well. And then I'm going to go, who is closest? Nixon is closest.
Yes. As you're looking for help, Miko comes in hearing the clatter of a person falling onto the floor and looks at you. You explain, hey, I'm going to run. You burst out of the door onto the streets frantically. It is nighttime. Well, it is late in the evening, and you look around and you head straight to Nexon's, running, stepping into puddles on the ground, mud squashing under your feet, and you make your way to Nexon's. There's a small light on in one of the windows that you could see, so hopefully Nexon is still up and you're not disturbing her rest.
I'm gonna do that like that. I'm not shouting, but I'm shout whispering because I don't want to panic the town. But there's dead or undead or not dead things. We need to help the vendors. Also, hi, it's Kaz. It's me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be like out by the window.
Yeah, Nexon's just gonna kind of poke her head out the window and like she's like mid sewing something and just kind of like, yeah, I'll be down in just a sec. Let me put some shoes on. Hurry down. Something's dead.
Yes, Catherine. And then I'm going to describe her. You know the one that we've seen in town. Anyway, so she came in running. Obviously, coming to us as heroes, unless if she knows something about me. But that's not the point. She said something is dead, or is not alive anymore, and then she fainted. I didn't even check if she needed healing. Well, it's too late now. I'm sure Miko will help her. We should go. And check.
All right. Was it at her house? Was it?
She seemed panicky and she fainted. So I didn't wait for that. But it's nighttime, so I imagine their house. Unless were they night vendors of some kind.
Yeah. I guess let's go get the others, and we can either get them together or split up and meet back at the tavern.
She did seem quite stressed. Maybe a quick split up.
Yeah, I can get Malvolo.
I'll go get Rain. I'm gonna go so long, and then because she's further.
Next, and you rush out into the evening. Again, everything is wet and just sloshy as you run to Marvolo's. You kind of get to his cottage at this point, and it smells again of wood. Outside, you could kind of see around it. There's a lot of wood shavings, as he is a tinker of sorts, and you get there, and there is no light on there, Nexon, so you might be asleep, or they might be asleep.
I will start pounding on the door. Malvolo, Cloudy.
A small light suddenly illuminates from one of the rooms as you hear these very lazy footsteps make their way to the front door. It creaks open, the hinges not very well maintained, and Malvolo is in front of you. He's wearing pretty much his pajamas, except he's still wearing the porcelain mask on his face. just with like a bed hat, kind of like a shawl over his shirt, but then this, again, porcelain mask, so he's not showing his face, as he says, Nixon, what brings you here at this late hour? Someone better be dead.
Possibly not dead or dead. And I'll fill him in on what Cassandra told me. Just be like,
So somebody came into the tavern screaming bloody murder, quite literally, and Cassandra left a passed out woman on the floor of a dirty tavern?
Yeah,
I'll get my kit. He'll turn around and just walk in and start getting changed and put together my doctor's bag and my sit. And also Kalodi, who is now fully repaired and is shiny and new. You hear a voice coming from inside. Come now, we must hurry. I don't want to go. What do you mean you don't want to go? I only just got this back, Look, after the last time, I was nothing but a head. You were lucky that I was able to pull myself back together. But you didn't pull yourself back together. I pulled you back together. That's not the point. Don't think I don't remember what you did. As soon as I was chopped in half by that thing, Nexon used me as a bloody human shield, and then you threw my entire upper body into a room with nothing but an angry crut? Are you insane? And what do you want me to do now? Now that I've got this shiny new body, it's time to scuff it up. You hear this scratching sound? Hey, what was that for? The first scratch is always the hardest. Now you quit your whining and hurry up. Oh, I'm gonna get you for this, Malvolo. I don't know when, I don't know where, but I will. And you just hear the bickering before Malvolo emerges, fully dressed and with his gear. And Kalodi behind him with this sullen look on his face. It's painted on with a brush, because he can't actually emote because he's a puppet.
Shall we head to the tavern? And Nexon's kind of avoiding looking at Kalodi.
Yes, with haste. And we'll make our way there.
Cassandra, you rush, leaving Nexon to find Marvolo and bring him back to the Rusty Dragon. Cassandra, you run and you kind of make your way to the outskirts of town where Rain usually sets up her cart, her new cart that she has now, and her kind of like very quickly made like flower beds that she has and all different plants. And you get there, and again, it's evening. There doesn't seem to be any kind of lights on, no lanterns, no fire is lit. So you're kind of coming into a point where it's getting pretty dark now, and she's probably asleep. Rain's probably sleeping.
She's asleep, kind of tucked in underneath her blankets, and hanging next to her is little Twilo in a tiny hammock. And that's where Twilo sleeps at night.
So cute. Yeah, I'm gonna, because now we're more out of town, so I'm gonna bang on the door. And I'm gonna be like, Rain! People need our help! Rain!
Rain is gonna pop up like full on panic. What's going on? Are you okay? Like absolute wide-eyed, as if you woke her up from a nightmare. What's going on? Oh, Cassandra. Oh, are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. I'm sorry to have startled you, but people need our help. So, and then I'm going to explain that she ran in and she said there's undead, not dead things. And I hate to do this, but I realize I'm going to the house. I'm not going back to the tavern. I didn't plan this very well. So I'm sorry, Rain. Me and you, we're going to the house.
No. We're going to do what's right. We're going to go to the house and make sure the rest of the family's okay. If she ran away, that might mean the rest of her family's in danger and they weren't able to come with her. I agree. Twilo. I'm going to wake Twilo up a little bit, like pulling the covers back from Twilo's little hammock, and a little squirrel head pops up. I need you to go to the tavern, and I need you to let them know that we've gone to the house, okay? Twilo's just going to like turn its head to the side, back and forth, like, I think you're understanding. Okay, good. Yeah. Just go to the tavern and let them know that we're at the house, all right? And then I'm like, okay, we're good to go. Twilo will send the message, let the others know where we're at, and we're good to go.
Okay, let's go get Kit. And then I'm gonna slow down as I realize I was gonna say, let's go get Crud.
Oh,
And then I'm just gonna keep running. Is it raining? I don't know. Is it crying? Who knows? I'm running.
all of it. We're just a mess as we run.
It's one of those. I'm very rushed this evening on this adventure, so don't know where we're going. Haven't got a plan. Looking for Crit. It's the whole thing.
We're an absolute mess, but it's okay.
Rain and Cass kind of head off to the house. Cass avoiding going back to the tavern. Twilo, kind of starts off strong, like Russian, and then stops a little bit and starts to like just stretch, and then continues on a jaunt to the tavern, not really rushing because doesn't really understand, importance, right? Twilo's a squirrel, an adorable squirrel. Dawn and Marvolo, you make your way back to the tavern. Amiko's there, and at this point, Sheriff Baylor has been summoned, not in his normal, metal armor, shiny armor, but in normal clothing. He kind of steps in and leaves giant boot prints all over, casts his nice clean floor, and you kind of make your way in, and there is sitting on a stool a young woman. She herself looks half dead, drained of all blood from her face, shaking. She's holding a drink, and just she's a mess. Miko looks at Marvolo and Nexon and says, "Please, Marvolo, could you help? Could you see if she's okay?"
Malvolo sort of looks at Baylor. He kind of is, I guess, a little hesitant as he kind of looks at these like steely eyes kind of glaring at him, because Baylor the sheriff does definitely have some history with Malvolo. But he'll turn to Amiko and say, "I will do what I can." I'll move over and I'll give what was her name? Cassandra? No, it's not. That's Cassandra. It's Catherine. I will give Catherine a once over.
Marvolo doing a once over very quickly. You notice she's shaking. She's in shock. It's obvious to you. It's kind of obvious to everyone as a person of medicine. You just kind of see it right away. It's not. You realize she's in shock. The color drained from her face, and her cold body. It's not like she's missing blood. You look her over to see if there's any kind of scars or anything. She has blood on her. Probably not hers though. Baylor looks at Miko, looks at Nexon, and looks at Marvolo, and then looks kind of turning his shoulder to block out or to turn away from Marvolo and Catherine, and to kind of look directly at Amiko and Nexon and kind of talk to them. And he looks and he says, "So what's going on here? I was told she came in screaming about someone's dead. There are dead people."
Nexon's just gonna kind of look over at Amiko and be like, well, I just arrived, so.
Okay. So who did she speak to originally? And Amiko looks up and says, that would be Cassandra. Cassandra ran out to go, I think, inform the vendors. And he kind of looks confused as to.
She came to get me, and she's probably on her way to get Rain.
Okay.
Get some backup.
Okay, fair enough. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a very quick report of what she saw and what she is claiming, and then we could take it from there. We could see how this is going to play out. And then he makes eye contact with you, Nexon, and he looks at you, and it looks like he wants to say sorry or something. Like there was something there he was gonna say, and then he holds it back. And then, he kind of puffs his chest out a little bit, and he turns around, and he pulls out a little pieces of paper, and he's kind of patting himself down, looking for a charcoal pencil. And he's like, "Oh, never have what I need."
Malvolio will pull out a charcoal pencil and just sort of hold it out to Baylor.
And he looks at you, and he says, "Thank you." It's kind of the first time he's ever said a nice word to you.
Oh, really? Your first time he said something nice? You mean since he killed my best friend?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I mean,
yeah? Is that it?
Yeah, that's all he really says to you.
I hate this guy. Hope he
He's
chokes
being
on the
polite.
pencil.
I feel like you gave him the tiny pencil, not the full-size one.
Yeah.
So he takes it and he looks at Catherine. He says, "Please, honey, do your best to tell us what you saw, what is going on." And she takes a deep sip from her glass, looks at Marvolo and Amico and Nexon, and she says, "It's horrible. They were both dead. It was disgusting. I can't. And she starts to cry again. And she seems to just be sobbing. She puts her head down and is just sobbing. You can see her shoulders just rocking. And Baylor says, "Where were they? Just tell us where they were." And she, through her sobbing, through her tears, she mutters, "The wooden, they were over. They were at the lumber mill." And he kind of nods, and then he looks at Nexon and Marvolo and Amico, and he says, "I'm gonna head over to the lumber mill. If your friends come back, please have them join us. I'm gonna bring a few guards over there, see what's going on." And he kind of heads out. Cassandra, Rain, you make your way to a fairly large house. Again, Cassandra, at this point, you've been stepping in puddles and mud and kind of all over your feet and up your pants legs. You've made your way to the house of what you would know is the vendors. There aren't any lights on, but you can smell smoke coming from the chimney. So maybe they might have just went to bed, or they might just be sitting by the fire with no large candles or lighting on.
Yeah, so I'm gonna run, and then I'm gonna slow down when I see that maybe nothing looks untoward, like the doors don't look tampered with, or.
Makes
and
sense.
Then I'm gonna turn to Rain and I'm gonna say, I don't know if I thought this through and if I got enough information.
Okay.
But we're here, so let's just check on them. And then Nexon and Marvolo are coming here, and then we'll see what happened.
Yes, and unfortunately, like at least even if nothing happened here, we can say for sure. And they probably want to know where she is, right? I can't imagine they would go to sleep without her.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. And then I'm gonna walk up to the door, and then I'm gonna see I look like very wet, damp, and muddy. And I'm gonna look at Rain. Does she look less wet and damp and muddy?
Yes, it's not. You guys are rushing, but you've been running the most, right? Like you've been kind of hitting multiple places. So, yeah, Rain would be the least muddy out of everyone.
I'm gonna say maybe it's best if you go first.
No. I get it. So if I forget any of the details, I did kind of get half this information while I was still waking up, but yeah, I will try. I'm good with people. She's going to step up and knock on the door. Hello? I'm sorry to bother you late at night. We have important information.
And as we're slowing down, Kaz is gonna realize she has no information. She just ran. So in between, she's gonna say, just maybe don't mention the dead people thing. If they don't seem worried, just say like, Catherine's at the tavern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does she have like family, like parents here, or is it like for kids?
Which do I know? Do we know?
About her family?
So, since you've been in town long enough, the vendors are again a well-to-do merchant family. Catherine is give or take between 18 and 19 years old. She does have a younger sister who's about 16, 17. Give or take. The vendors are like well connected. They know a lot of the larger well-to-do families. And Catherine, as the older child, is more or less the quiet one. Shaylis is the more outgoing one. You've seen Shaylis a few times. She has like bright red hair. She usually is in the tavern. Cassandra, being very boisterous and outgoing with other people. Yeah. They are a rich family, so snobbish. Your typical they kind of turn their nose down on the common folk, right? The common folk, as we all are. So you're knocking on the door and you hear a click and the door swings open, and holding a candle is a older gentleman. This is not the vendors, the father, Ven. This is the manservant, Jacob. And he kind of looks you in he looks quickly, thinking to see a human, not expecting to see an Elsie's, kind of stares right into your broad body and then looks you up and is like, how may I help you?
Hi. Yes, we're very sorry to awaken you this late at night and the family here, but well, we thought you should know that Catherine arrived at the tavern tonight and she is very shaken up and she's not doing well.
No, Catherine is in her room asleep. She should not be out.
No, she was definitely she's gonna look at Cassandra. She was definitely in the tavern. She had passed out and is not doing well. She's currently there resting, trying to get better because she wasn't safe to travel. Right?
Yes, I mean everything is fine here though, other than Catherine not being in bed.
Can you double check that? I mean, we're almost. I mean, I know it's late.
I'm very sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
I saw Catherine.
Yes.
Please give me a moment. I will check. And he kind of stomps down the hall. You hear him go up a few set of stairs, and then you could see a light quickly illuminate a room at one of the top floors. And then you now hear footsteps come rushing down at a faster pace. Uh, it does seem Catherine is not in her room. I will send for my lord and lady. They are out at a party currently. I will send for them.
Oh,
I will also send for Catherine. I'll send the carriage for Catherine. I appreciate your call. Have a good evening.
thank you. Oh,
And then
here's some soup for her. It's cold and rainy and okay.
he kind of just shuts the door as you're saying that. And then he not like he's trying to slam it, but he's like trying to maneuver to shut the door, not like have it hit you. So he's being cordial about it. And he was like, please, just a little bit of space. Thank you. And then you hear it then click, and then you could hear some footsteps. So you're assuming he'll probably send for someone. If he did say it, it's on good authority.
I'm gonna turn to Rain and say, I'm really sorry. I didn't think this through.
No. It's
I
good.
panicked.
No, you did. We still did the right thing. We checked on the family, and now we'll have the opportunity to send someone instead of having her walk over here in the rain. This is much better. You think her sister's there, right? Like they checked that part, right? This isn't part of like both sisters are missing, right?
And then I'm gonna reach out like, should we knock again?
Knock. I think we should knock.
And then I'm gonna knock again. And then I'm like, we're also waiting for Malvolo and Nixon, although they should have been here before us.
Yeah.
Unless if they're not coming here. I didn't plan very well.
It's okay. Moments like this we can't plan. You took action, and that's the important thing. You did an excellent job, and it's better to do something than nothing at all.
Thanks, Rain. And I'm just gonna keep knocking. And if he opens the door, I'm just gonna be like, bah, bah, bah.
On like your 12th knock, the door again unhinges. There's Jacob, and it kind of looks like he was kind of getting ready to head out. And he looks at you, and he was like, yes, I do have soup being prepared. Is there anything else I can do for you?
We were just wondering if Shayla's is here. Just we thought, they're very good friends, and only Catherine came in, so we just wanted to double check.
Yeah, make sure they're both okay and slumbering, or if we need to go find her.
Yes.
One moment. And again, you could hear him going back into the house, up the stairs, and then another light illuminates in the room. And then he slowly makes his way back down the stairs, not as much as in a rush as before. And he looks and he goes, Shayla is, as expected, not in her room. It's okay, though.
Do you
What?
my favorites? Is it okay that one's missing?
Can Cassandra give me a society check?
A society check.
Yeah, gonna use these
Ooh.
weird abilities that we haven't used from book one.
Oh, snap. Okay, I do have this. Okay. Oh, I'm clicking the wrong thing. That's my problem. I only have a +2, but rolled a 19, which doesn't show. Okay, let me roll again.
We'll take it as is. A 19 is fair enough. Cassandra, you know that Shayla's not being in her room. You did see her. She has, how can I say this politely? Shayla likes to be a woman of her own choice and is normally seen at less reputable places in the evenings. such as, gambling taverns. She's been seen on the arm of many a different fellow and a few. So the family kind of knows what she does and just lets her do it. They pay her debt as just like, okay, yeah, it's the youngest child being a young child. As long as she doesn't do anything crazy or, get anyone into trouble, they've tolerated it. So her not being home is, you're like, okay, she could be at any one of these other places in town, and it's completely possible.
Yeah, I think this is just par for the course for how I played Kaz this night. She's very disorganized. When he says that, she's going to say, oh, yes, quite right. And then when he closes the door, I'm going to explain to Rain that, it's possible they weren't together, as Shayless likes to enjoy the nightlife, especially the after tavern nightlife, and Catherine does not, which makes it really weird that she came running in so late.
Okay, so now I guess we go back to the tavern, unless we have any other leads as to where she might have been. I mean, look at this weather. Who goes out in this weather? Besides us, but it's an emergency. We're an exception.
Yeah, and I think if Malvolo and Nixon were going to be here, they would have been here already, because you're further. So I think they might be at the tavern.
Okay. So we should just go back there
and get information. And then I'm going to mumble to myself, which I probably should have done before I fetched anybody. But
Dawn, as Nexon sees Sheriff Baylor kind of head out of the tavern, in scoots a little friend that you've recognized. It's Twilo, and Twilo kind of like scampers around and climbs up on a table and starts to eat a few crumbs, and then looks at you and squeaks a little bit, and again starts to eat some crumbs and then squeaks a little bit more.
I love that Tweelo's dancing around the screen.
Yes, if you're only listening and watching, you should see Twilo just dancing around the screen. It's worth it.
I'm gonna kind of lean down and look at Twilo and just go, hi buddy, where's Rain? I don't speak squirrel.
Squeaking frantically, like big gestures, like and kind of do this symbol to you.
Are you being Rain wants
like
something?
Reaching really high? Yeah. It's really exciting.
Nyx is gonna kind of come out of his little satchel and kind of hop down and start like imitating what
so just on the record,
is doing.
On the record, I am very, very happy to do Twilo, but I am not animating a spider across the screen. There's only so much my arachnophobia will allow me to do. So, in advance, I apologize.
It's fair.
You are from Australia, and you guys have those giant spiders. Yeah. It's acceptable.
Twilo is continuing her little game of charade. After like raising her hands as high as they can and then doing big antlers behind her ears, you figured out that it's Rain, and now she's trying to figure out like indicating running by moving her little arms back and forth in place.
Get bedtime? Gotta go. Was Rain asleep?
I don't know if Twilo knows what a house is. Just realized there might be some restrictions here. Let's see here. Twilo does the running motion. and then just does like this. Like this is a building to her. So she's just holding her arms up and then putting a little triangle up at the top.
Someone scored a touchdown.
And Tweelo's like increasingly getting frantic and like making her gestures more erratic. Doing the same thing over and over. It's not helping.
Well, I have a thought. I'm just double checking something. No, that wouldn't work because they have to speak. There's a like what the roof. Okay. Rain's on a roof.
She's gonna look around. Does Tweelo know like some of the people? Like she's been around, right?
Yeah, Tweelo knows Nyx. Tweelo knows Amiko. Yeah, wherever Rain goes, Tweelo goes, and everyone knows Tweelo's colors with the black fur and that like really cool awkward tail. So it's Tweelo. It's not like generic squirrel.
Not your average squirrel that just wanders into a bar at night. Tweelo's gonna point at Catherine.
They went to her house.
Tweelo's gonna like do a little celebration, run in a circle sort of thing.
I guess I misunderstood Cass. I'm gonna tug on Melville, just be like, we gotta go meet Cass and Rain, or at least Rain. I don't know if Cass is there, over at Catherine's house.
Why? Oh, yeah. Well, let me just. There's not much I can do here. None of this blood is hers. So yes, let's make haste. The lumber mill. Well, I fear what we are going to find there. Quickly. Kalodi, umbrella mode. I reach into his guts and I basically pull on something, and you watch as his hood sort of goes. This is degrading.
And, Nexon will kind of like offer her hands for Tweelo to hop into to like set him on, or her on her shoulder.
Tweelo will happily hop on and kind of like nuzzle up next to her. Very happy, like in their celebration that they've figured it out together.
Well, go on. Hold your hand up. Oh. There.
There you go. Nexon now has Tweelo on her shoulder.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because we can.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, we're going to make as quick haste as we can to try and find the others.
Sure. Quickly moving through the streets, getting over to the vendor's house. You kind of, as you're making your way there, a carriage kind of just comes quickly by. Again, it's late into the evening. This is kind of outside the ordinary, but it is coming from the vendor's house. So maybe they sent the carriage to pick someone up. You're not 100% sure. As you're making your way there, you can see Rain and Cassandra kind of heading back, no longer in a frantic run as they've figured out what's going on. And the two groups kind of just meet up at this point and are just standing, and you could see each other.
Oh, thank goodness we don't have to go all the way to the tavern. I was not ready for the midnight run.
And then Kaz in the back is I'm sorry I confused us. Hey, Nixon.
Ha. Yeah, Tweelo came and we played a little squirrel charades and figured it out.
Oh, good. Tweelo, good job. Come here. And she's going to open up a little satchel for Twilo to go in. It's one of those cute little animal backpacks that has like a little window for them to see out of. But there's 2 little holes at the top for Twilo's ears to poke out of. He's just tall enough. Or I wasn't able to get a slightly larger satchel.
So cute.
Well, we're supposed to head on over to the lumber mill. That's apparently where she saw stuff. Did you learn anything from her house?
Yes, we learned that Catherine was supposed to be in bed. And then I'm just gonna like hold my like face palm and be like, I'm sorry, I should have asked more questions. I should have clarified. But we're going to the lumber mill and I'm gonna start walking towards the lumber mill. Do I know where the lumber mill is?
Malvolo says the lumber mill is this way.
Okay. And then I'm just like, Kaz is not having a great one.
Well, it's late at night. You were packing up for the evening. I mean, we can forgive you. Also, just I hope that it's now there. It's a little bit tricky to see, but Jared now has a hex point, courtesy of Laura Bones.
Thank you so much, Laura. I appreciate that. That will go to use. So that just gives me the ability to just like send in like 4,000 zombies right now.
Yeah.
All right, awesome.
Yeah. Basically, hex points work the same as hero points, except they also have the additional impact of negating our hero points.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for the love.
And you want to know the grand irony? That was Eddie's idea.
Right before, yeah.
Right before he left.
Passing shots.
With their good stuff.
I'm not gonna have to deal with this.
Oh, good.
So
Heavens, is anybody concerned why a poor girl like Catherine was doing in the lumber mill this late at night?
You know, that is a excellent question. Didn't really think to ask that.
I mean,
And she was supposed to be in bed, which is something we found out.
yes. I mean, of all places to sneak up to, is that where teenagers go these days? Smoke or something. I don't know. Anything else?
No, I think if she wanted to do teenager things, she'd be with Shayla's. And then I'm going to list like 10 places they could have gone.
Just know all of them off the top of your head.
Kalodi starts writing those down. What? I'm cool. I was literally born yesterday.
She shouldn't be out there. It's dangerous. Whether it's with her sister or at a lumber mill, I don't know why she'd be out there, much less alone. Or if she isn't alone, who was she going with? I'm sorry. I'm asking all these questions. I know we don't know this yet. We should probably just get over there. I'm just saying it's very sketchy and it doesn't add up.
Was she all right? I'm going to stop and turn to Malvolo. Like, this is a question I should have asked.
She is fine. She is a little bit shaken, but not stirred.
Okay.
Can I use my jinx point on that pun?
No, because it was a joke from before about Ryan.
Yes.
Because Ryan looked like James Bond, so I threw that in.
So the group makes their way through the muck, following the road over to the lumber mill. Marvolo kind of takes point. This is the first time the group would see him kind of taking point. Marvolo knows the way to the lumber mill. He's frequented it a number of times. It's kind of where he gets the parts for Kalodi. And as you get there, you now see a number of lanterns moving around. You go through, heading up to the lumber mill. You have to go through like a little bit of a marsh area. And you finally make your way to the lumber mill. Now it is fairly late in the evening. Stepping out to greet you is the sheriff, now in full regalia, kind of looks or at the group as you get there, making eye contact with everyone, and then kind of stepping forward and looking at Nexon. Says, "Thank you for getting here in a timely fashion."
Yeah. Anything amiss in there?
Yes. Put simply, we have a murderer in our midst.
Oh.
How can I say this? Some of you doubtless remember the late unpleasantness, how this town nearly tore itself apart at the hands of the chopper. And hearing that, you recognize that, you remember, you were here for that. The man who was murdering people, a serial killer. As it turned out, it was a close acquaintance of Marvolo, the last one. Well, it looks like there are two victims there, and he kind of like rubs his head. They're in pretty gruesome shape. The bodies were discovered by one of the mills in the mill. There was a worker on site, we found out, their name Eobar Thorn, and yeah, Eobar's not doing well. We have him, but the thing that bothers me with all of this isn't the fact that we have the two dead bodies inside. It's the fact that this is actually the second set of murders we've had in the last few days. I didn't connect them until now. I'm coming to you again to ask for help. This is a difficult task. My men will do the best to keep everything quiet and to keep the town unaware of what's been going on. But I'm going to have to ask if your group can handle this, Nexon. My men, we have to deal with what's going on with the goblins, and now I don't know, all this magic, all this chaos that's coming up. It seems to be going out of my hands, and you all were able to handle yourself so well. I would appreciate it if you can look into this.
She'll kind of look to the others for like, is this cool? Yeah, we can handle this. Although, do we maybe want to let the town know so they can, be protecting themselves or on the lookout. Additional eyes wouldn't hurt.
Travel together, not to be ever alone.
I'll spread the word to the taverns to tell them for people to travel in groups, like you said, to keep eyes out. And I will put additional guards in the streets. Nexon, that is a good idea. And then Baylor kind of kneels down to get on your level, Nexon. And he reaches for your hand and pushes a letter into it. And it's not like he's doing this in secret. This is kind of, everyone can notice what's happening here. And he makes eye contact with you, Nexon, and it's just like sad eyes. And he's like, we'll give you time to look around for the group. Maybe you guys can see what my men haven't. I'm gonna head back, pick up a few more guards, set up a perimeter, and kind of keep this place closed. I do have to inform the owner that they're not going to be able to use the mill tomorrow. And he stands up and kind of leaves the group.
I'll open the letter.
Sure. Written on a bloody piece of paper on the front of the letter, it was closed, is Rain's name. And opening and quickly reading it, you see that it says, "You will learn to love me, desire me in time as she did. Give yourself to the pack and it shall all end." And that's it. It seems to be written in maybe ink. Hopefully it's ink.
I will kind of holding it, just kind of look up at Rain and be like, darling, you might want to see this, and I'll show it to her and the rest of the group.
What in the name of all the gods?
What is this? Why is my name on the front of this? Oh, who wrote this? Where did... I feel very uncomfortable right now.
Did he say where he got the letter?
Wait, is this related to the murders?
Wait. Where is Hemlock compared to us?
He's heading down the road. You could see him heading with the two other guards that were there stationed were there. They left their lanterns to kind of keep the place lit for everyone, so you can see well enough inside. And they're kind of heading back, so they're not far. They're within earshot where you could like call out or even run up to them.
I will move in close to everyone and tell them to gather so that we can't be heard. You know, I never trusted the sheriff. And yes, I've had personal reasons why, but hear me out. The sheriff, who serves our town dutifully throughout the day, simply happens to be wandering out at night and is the first person on the scene retrieving the letter like this and then handing it off to us, claiming that it has been searched, it has been done. This is a cursory glance at best, but he knows where this letter is. He also knew of other murders and kept it from the town. Look, I know that Jervis, my friend, was unwell, but he was a kind soul, a gentle soul. And it was Baylor who took his life in front of all of us. We have seen that this man has it well and truly within them to commit such a killing in cold blood. I think we must best be cautious around him.
Oh, I hear what you're saying, but that's a very heavy accusation. I agree. I agree. Everyone's on the table for being a suspect, and he certainly does have some questionable motives and actions that he's taken. But let's tread carefully, okay? I mean, it is part of his responsibility to be up and about and protecting and doing what he thinks is best, even if it does seem extreme. But I understand where you're coming from, and
I am not saying that we do anything. I am simply saying we, as you have suggested, keep everyone as an option, as a potential for this heinous crime.
And what about the letter?
The letter...
Rain is still getting goosebumps just looking at that thing.
Look, the letter is... I think we'll need to see what this is about. Maybe you have a connection to the victims.
Does anybody know what the pact is? Do I know what the pack is?
Sorry, is it pack or pact?
Pack with a K.
With a K. Okay.
Yeah, it's packed with a K.
Okay.
Not a blood pact
Werewolves?
with the letter. I don't know.
We'll know more once we get inside, but brace yourselves. Accidents have been known to happen at the lumberyard, and dismemberment and gore are commonplace in the field of trap making, which, of course, I am experienced. If you do not have a strong stomach, then I think maybe we brace.
You're handling this really well, but granted, you didn't have a creepy letter written towards you. I don't know who this is. I've never had anyone express love for me like, well, at all, but like this is way. I mean, this is not how I wanted to get a date. This is intense and terrifying, and I don't even know who they are. I don't really want to go inside there.
Is the writing on the front and inside the same?
Yes.
So is it the same person? Okay.
Yeah. So the writing that spells Rain's name is the same as the writing on the inside.
I mean, do we even know that this is ink? I mean, it's got kind of a weird gloss to it. I don't. Maybe it's fancy ink and I've never seen that before. I just.
Give me just a second, and she'll kind of pull out some string and do like a little cat's cradle and cast detect magic.
Mm-hmm. There is a faint aura left in the area of necromancy and divination. Rain, if you want to make a nature check on the letter to figure out what it is, it's up to you if you want to know more.
I'm going to investigate this as thoroughly as possible. Oh, man. 11?
So holding this letter, you kind of pull it and you realize it's not paper. It's probably a tougher material, maybe like a leather, like a thin kind of leather.
No. Like
It-
leather made from what kind of flesh? Brain is like shaking as she's holding this. Like, what?
Well, it's probably tanned from like a small, like an animal, some kind of animal flesh.
Okay, that's a little more reassuring than what I was thinking. Okay, I don't want to touch this anymore. I can't. I feel very afraid, and I don't know who this is, and I don't know what to do with this, and I don't know what they mean by desire me in time. Also, who is she? Why am I the second choice?
I'm not gonna say this to Rain, but as I hear about it being made of leather, I'm gonna make a mental note to go and check on that dog that we met, in the previous bit, just as a on the quiet. I'm not gonna talk to Rain about it. I'm just gonna very quietly go, mental note, go check on that dog.
I'm gonna look and be like, shouldn't we have asked him more questions? I'm not judging anyone who didn't ask questions this evening. I'm just saying, maybe we should have asked about those murders. Maybe we should have asked where they found this letter.
No, yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Look, I'd rather not talk to Mr. Hemlock for now. Just because everything about that exchange for me is setting off alarm spells. Let's.
Nexon's just gonna kind of sidle up to Rain and like offer to take the letter and then kind of like hold her hand.
Malvolo and Collodi will go to either side of the big door and look at each other and nod, and then very slowly push open the lumber mill doors.
Sure. Opening the heavy doors. Two things happen. Firstly, there is the smell of iron and copper, which you've known is the smell of blood. Secondly, there is and Cassandra, you pick up on this a little bit more than everyone else. There is a lingering scent of rot, not like fresh corpse rot, but older corpse rot is in the area. The mill interior is coated with sawdust, strewn, with footprints, and then you see it as you kind of walk in, the splatters of blood kind of all over the place. It's now becoming more of a horror scene than it is a place of joy and work. Yeah.
Sorry. Would I know? Because I was thinking about it as Rain mentioned it, and when Baylor mentioned Eobar, would I know? Like, is there rumors that Catherine, was dating him? Like, was there a reason why she would be here? Like, is there rumor? Like, maybe she was sneaking off for a secret rendezvous.
Interesting. Please give me a society check to know rumors in the town.
Okay, did that roll? What? Okay, let me try again. Sorry, I don't know why I'm not managing to roll it in the thing. Yeah.
Let's see.
We only want to talk about Shayla's. She's dramatic.
That's okay. That's okay.
You're not sure of any specific rumors. Obviously working in the taverns, you get those rumors frequently, but you haven't heard anything of her.
Okay. And then I'm also gonna mention to everyone, like, I've been thinking about it since we came here, but I can't think of any reason why she might be in the mall. I mean, maybe she was meeting somebody for a secret rendezvous. The parents seem strict. Well, the butler seems strict with her. And then I'm going to also mention the older rotting smell. And I'm going to be quite specific and say, like, so it's definitely not from these bodies, because that's kind of like a 2-year-old, right? Like, very specifically, like how,
Sorry, were there bodies here?
As you enter, right, like in the kind of main entranceway, there are no bodies. You do see blood kind of every which way. You would have to explore deeper. Remember, it's a mill, so it's a fairly large area. So
because Cassandra. Sorry, when Cassandra mentioned a body, I was like, body? Did I miss something? Okay.
I mean, I did. There definitely was some kind of necromancy and divination that happened around here, so that lines up, at least the necromancy, with the rotten smell.
Yeah, let's maybe be on the lookout, because Catherine did mention that they were dead but not dead, so don't take anything at face value. And I'm going to say this, like, smiling to try and, like, reassure people, like, it's totally cool if dead body is like, like, just keep calm. and I'm just trying to put a nice spin on it also for Rain. So I'm just going to be like, it's okay.
Malvolo is going to be watching Cassandra this whole time. And this isn't Michael, this is Malvolo. Wondering if Cassandra, knowing full well that there might possibly be undead here, would think at all to be quiet.
No. No.
And Malvolo will then put a finger up to his mask and walk slowly with his very, very effective, for those of you who know Malvolo is clearly a master of the dagger, pull out a knife, and Collodi pulls out his bladed arm and slowly makes their way forward deeper into the lumber mill.
Making your way deeper into the mill. Now it becomes obvious, like if the group's traveling, Scooby-Doo style into the mill as a unit, the smell of rot everyone starts to pick it up. Cass, you were kind of the first one because of reasons. And now everyone starts to get that faint hint of rot. Nexon, Rain, Marvolo, you all deal with some sort of rot in time. Rain with vegetables and fruit, and Nexon even tanning leathers and being part of that culture. Marvolo being a doctor of sorts. You've smelt that smell before, and the fact that it's lingering is strange. Usually, an open air place like this, remember, it's big, it's open, there's a lot of space, it should have dissipated, but it's kind of sticking to things. It's terrible. You go deeper in, and there, laying on the floor, a body, a friend, Nexon. You recognize who it is. It's the tiefling that you had problems with earlier and kind of came to a connection with in time. It's Bisa Ashel, the tiefling friend of yours. Her mangled ruined remains lie on the mill's lower floor amid heaps of bloodstained wood. The log splitter itself is powered by a water mill. So she's like right next to this log splitter, laying down. There's blood everywhere. Her face is in like this twisted expression of fear and agony. She's been torn apart. Her chest has been like opened. There's scratches all over her face. It's a gruesome sight.
Oh no.
I'm so sorry, Nixon.
Nixon. And Rain's going to squeeze her hand a little bit tighter.
Wasn't my favorite person, but this is awful.
You don't have to look.
I'm okay. But,
this is horrible. Who would do something like this?
Malvolo's going to look at the body. And I know it's redundant, but I'm probably going to ask still nonetheless. Does it look like it might have been an accident? Like, looking at the way the body's lying and looking how... Yeah. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
Parts torn apart. Totally by accident.
Well, this is a lumber mill. There are things like giant saws and the stuff. Dismemberment is, as I mentioned, not an uncommon thing. So I mean, it's worth checking. Yeah.
Marvolo, as you kind of like look closer at the body to do a quick inspection to see if it was like, did they fall on the log splitter or was it an accident? You realize the log splitter doesn't have any blood on it. There's a lot of blood nearby, but nothing on the splitter itself. Could you, Marvolo, give me a perception check?
Yeah, gladly.
Because you've now gotten closer, right? As close as Marvolo gets to
Yeah.
to dirtiness.
Oh yeah, definitely not touching it or anything. 16 on my perception check.
Okay. Yes. So as you kind of like kneel down and kind of look at this whole scenario, you notice that there's an axe kind of knocked to the side. It looks like it was kind of knocked over and pushed away. And it kind of slid away from the body and is kind of like under the log splitter itself.
I'll move over to inspect the axe.
Mm-hmm. The handle is covered with bloody fingerprints. On the head, there are smears of blood and flesh, and bone fragments are caked onto its blade. And secondly, as you kind of like get closer to inspect the axe and like move it around, you're now noticing that as you get closer, this is that scent, that rotten scent. It's much stronger in this area. Can you please give me a DC fortitude check?
Yes, indeed. A natural 1.
Okay. Please roll a D4.
That is a 3.
Okay, you've received the sicking condition.
Oh, good.
As the stench kind of overwhelms your senses, it's way too potent to be a natural smell. You now realize that, having gotten this close to it.
Malvolo falls backwards, like almost as if he had like either stepped on a burning pyre or something. Like he moves quickly as he like lands backwards and starts to crawl along the floor away from this smell. He turns his body and then fights back a few wretches as he just points. He doesn't say anything. He just sort of points in the general direction of the axe.
I'm going to sort of pat Malvola, and then I'm going to look to Rain, like, maybe Nixon shouldn't be the one to inspect this thing. So I'm going to go look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Careful.
I'm like, are you okay, Malvola? As I walk across, and I'm looking for what he was looking at. Like, is the axe blatant now? Or?
Yeah, I mean, he's Marvolo. Sorry, Marvolo. You are kind of pointing at the axe. You've made a gesture, right, to signal where this is.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Just a gesture where that is.
Yeah. So it's now obvious to the group. Just taking a quick look at it, you could see what he's kind of pointing to, and it's just gnarly. Again, it's a woodsman axe, so it's not like a fancy axe or an axe of any kind of note. It looks like it might have been here and been part of what was going on.
I'm gonna, since Nixon said there was like necromancy in the air, and I, obviously can smell the rot, which this body shouldn't smell like that.
Mm-mm.
So can I
Yeah.
look if there's any signs of, I don't know, necromancy? I don't have detect magic, but just general arcana.
You now can kind of getting closer to the axe, but not really, like you're now staying kind of like a little bit away. Make a religion check.
Okay, religion. Okay, come on, dice, please roll in the actual thing. Haha, I rolled in the thing. Good job, me.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, wow. Okay. Yeah, knowledge is yours. You've seen stuff like this before, long ago. You've dealt with stuff like this. The constant rot, that heavy smell, it's reminiscent of creatures that are definitely undead. you kind of go through a list in your head. Like it could be vampire, it could be ghoul, could be ghast, it could be, you know, when you start to go through the list of, you know, kind of crossing out the check marks, you know, it's probably not zombie because zombie is an animated structure and they don't last too long. They and the, you know, the smell kind of comes off weird. That's what leads you to different creatures. That isn't like, oh, just zombie, you know, or skeleton. But again, this isn't the first time you've seen necromancy like this.
Yeah, I'm gonna start saying it out loud. And then when I see like Malvolo is looking a bit sickened, and obviously Rain is very frightened, and Nexon, of course, like, I mean, everyone, I'm gonna slow down my roll as I'm like, is it, as I see that it's not helping, listing like all the things it could have been. And then I'm going to say, I think we should be on our guard because, you know, a necromantic undead creature. And I'm going to pick like the worst one that I said out loud, and I'm going to say, at least it's not that. Like, yay, spirits up. And I'm going to say is probably did this. And then I'm also going to sort of look at the body. So I say, just be on your guard. And, you know, if the stench gets stronger, then we know we're close. So weapons at the ready. And then I'm going to look over the body, see if that helps further refine the mental checklist.
Yeah. So Nexon kind of is gonna focus on like looking at the cuts, and more so on the clothes, but also a little bit on like the scratches and stuff like that, like trying to focus on those things to figure out, like, do all of these line up with like an axe or the saw, or do they look like they came from something else?
So looking at it, acts like an axe wound, right, is very precise. Or if you have multiple attacks, the way this body is mutilated, it's definitely not axe wounds. It, you know, just general looking at it without going into, you know, forensic science. So not doing a lot of medicine checks and spending time with the body like that. You would know that like axe wounds look different. Especially you guys have been in combat. You would, you know, recognize a wound from the difference. So these are clearly different. The gashes on the arm kind of look like they come from an animal, like scratches, not so much as like a slice.
Okay. And I'll go ahead, and since we're inside now, I'll pull out the string and make the cat's cradle and cast detect magic again. See if anything else changes.
Just a little bit more. So again, that faint energies of necromancy and divination are still in this room. You get it from the axe head, right? But the strange thing is it's coming from the bits and pieces on it, not from the axe itself, right? Like the axe isn't magical, the bits and pieces are. And then further into the room, there's again another pull, something you're reaching out to touch this energies, and that necromantic and divination pulls you in a different direction. It's a little stronger over yonder.
Yeah, so she's gonna kind of like looking at the string that's like pulling towards that. Just be like, I think there's something more over this way. I'm getting another pull of that magic.
Kalodi, perhaps bring Malvolo. I don't think we should, you know, separate. I assume it's not like right next to it. It's over there.
Yeah, no,
That
don't worry.
Nixon's pointing.
Yeah, no, don't worry. I got him. Come on, big guy. Yeah, I will be fine. I've seen fast work. It's just the smell. It's just bodies should not smell like this. Just Collodi sort of helps up Malvolo and follows.
Heading
Nixon's
off.
gonna leave. Nixon's gonna leave Nyx, with Bessa, and just kind of tell him like, just keep her company, and if you see something, give me a shout.
So, Nyx does its like little dance to alert you that it recognizes the conversation, and you kind of lead Nyx, and you lead the party following the string. You go deeper in, and again, it seems to get eerily darker. The animal sounds have kind of started to silence themselves, and you make your way deeper into here. Now, this is where you see the most gruesome of all sights. A man torn asunder. His body desecrated. It's gruesome. But the thing that strikes you all is a symbol drawn onto his chest. A symbol you've all recognized before. It's the 7-pointed star. And that's where we'll go to break. We'll take a 15-minute break, and we will come back in 15. So we're all going to grab something to drink, something to eat. And stick around. Let's see where this is going. He lays there, torn, shredded, almost mutilated. A simple society check will reveal who this person is. If you have it and you want to check to see who it is, or you could just be like, dead body.
I think Nixon definitely wants to know that. Wait, not that roll. That one. I almost rolled stuff.
Woo!
Oh.
Nat 20.
Dang.
All right, there we go. Great way to start us back, Nixon. Wonderful. This is the body of Harker, one of the lumber mill's owners. You never had a lot of communication with this person because, kind of separating. But working in theater, you did have to purchase lots of lumber and such, and you've had conversations with Harker. Now, the strange thing is, it looks as if your tiefling friend or your tiefling acquaintance and Harker might have been canoodling. And you do know that Katharina Vendor was Harker's soon-to-be wife. So, yeah.
Oh, damn.
Oh, man.
I wonder if Katrina Catherine was interrupting something and just wrong place, wrong time.
You think that maybe
if
Catherine did this?
everyone's a suspect.
So,
But
what we think might have happened is that Harker was caught in the act of lust with Bisa. Catherine walked in, enraged. Sorry, this is my South African slang there. Enraged by the site, took the axe, then chopped up Bisa, and then hung up poor Harker. While this might be a possibility, it does not explain the rune.
Well, and some of the stuff that was on the axe felt like had some kind of magic necromancy vibe to it. So
yeah, I definitely think some undead, I don't know, minion is involved. Also, I don't know if the wounds were super axe-like on Nixon. On
no, they looked like they didn't look like they came from an axe. So maybe somebody was using the axe to try and defend themselves from whatever attacked them.
That's a good point.
Now, I'm only going to ask this once, only because we must. Cassandra, we have been friends for a long time. You didn't do this, did you? I would understand if you did. What remains of his body is quite attractive, and if that is a thing, I will completely understand. But
so I didn't do this.
okay.
I don't know what rumors you've heard about us, but I was a farmer. Okay, I like living here. Wouldn't want to jeopardize that. Also, ew, no one brings back bodies for that. No one. And we murder those people who do that.
Love them.
And then I'm just gonna at Malvolo, like, why would you say that?
I just have to cover all bases. Is all. That's it. I trust you.
Well, I don't ask what you do with your other puppets. How do we know Colodi's?
I only have one.
And
I
I'm
regret
there.
that one.
And I'm just gonna say, you know what? It's been a stressful night, and I apologize for giving back to you what your horrible. And then I'm just gonna go stand by Rain and fold my arms and just look at Ponvolo.
Earlier, I saw Besa leaving the tavern like during one of the festivals with a guy. Was it Harker? Okay.
Yeah. Now that you're thinking on it, right? Which, by the way, amazing note taking or just memory. I threw that in as like a foreshadow, and you totally picked up on it. So congratulations, you win. And yeah, it looked like Hawker. Remember, he was like trying to keep his face from being seen completely. He was trying to avoid. He didn't even like come all the way in. It was like very sheepish. That's because he was not supposed to be doing that. I mean, everyone has free will, but yeah.
Is it hero point worthy of note taking?
I will say, as a person who likes good notes, Nexon may have a hero point for that because I support here note taking. I feel like what we didn't see was when we went to break, just Dawn just going through all her notes. I got it right here. So yes, so looking at this body, Marvolo, can you make a medicine check? Because now your mind's running and you're trying to just connect the pieces.
Sure.
Both literally and figuratively. Another 20. Jeez Louise. Yeah, wow, you guys are killing it right now. So looking at Harker's body, seeing the way his body has been mutilated, a few things stand out to you. One, it looks like the tongue has been removed, as if the person who committed this act knew of magics that might be able to aid, allow the person to speak from beyond the grave. So removing the tongue negates their ability to speak. Two, you see on the, so again, Harker's body is really messed up. You notice that there is a weird square shape tear on the back of Harker's lower back. It just looks like someone had slightly cut out a square for some reason. And lastly, Harker, there's another area on the body that looks like it was desecrated in like a weird fashion, like something had taken a chunk out of them, more of something bit in and removed a chunk of the body.
Okay. I share all of that information with the others, and I say, now, maybe this is just all speculation. I'm not a detective, and I don't think any of us really are, but his tongue has been removed, and if this person is well versed in spells, it would not surprise me if they also knew of the magics tied to the Shihedron rune that is carved on this man's chest. It is a symbol, of course, of the 7 great kingdoms of Thassalon, to which all of us belong. Each a school of magic. Gluttony, of course, the realm of the undead. I hazard to say this, but maybe one of us returned from the past. Maybe another person that we simply missed.
One who would do all this?
Well, I mean, perhaps, or I don't know. I mean, a letter to Rain, the medallion, the death and the carnage, the undeath. You cannot deny that there must be some form of connection here.
Horrifying to think that.
We've assumed that everyone who has managed to escape Thassalon's extinction like we have simply has had the intention of living out their lives like we. But maybe there are some who have other plans.
Oh my God. Go to this length? Oh, to what ends are they trying to carry out? What?
Maybe they're trying to do something similar, like that priest was doing with the Runelord of Wrath.
I mean, we were all drawn here, and there's at least one of our temples here, and I'm gonna say at least one of our, and when I say I'm gonna like sort of drop it because Malvola is already suspicious, and I don't want to like bring up the fact that one of my temples is still here. And we were all drawn here, so maybe there's something here that's useful for these big workings. This poor town.
Looking around, are there any signs of like footprints or like a blood trail?
Glad you asked. Rain, since you've been here, and now Nexon's kind of looking around. Nexon, you notice on the floor. Now, remember, this is a lumber mill, so you're gonna have a lot of things moving back and forth. But looking around, you start to notice that there are prints on the floor, made out of mud. that it kind of came. There's not a lot of them, and they're hard to notice. But just looking around, specifically trying to find them, you notice that like, and then the weird part is only one of the prints, right, has boot is in boots. The other ones are not. Seem to be like without shoes. And many of them are like half prints, right? They're not full, like, you know.
Well, someone doesn't seem like, and I'll kind of look at Harker's body and like remembering back to Bessa, like they were both wearing shoes, right?
Yes. Yeah, they have shoes on.
I mean, this doesn't seem like the type of place you'd want to run around bare feet.
So I'm standing there with my arms folded, and I'm just like, oh, the more I talk, the more Malvolo's gonna think. And I'm look, there is a lot of necromantic energy, as you said, and if it smells like a corpse and walks like a corpse and doesn't wear shoes like a corpse, I'm probably gonna say maybe those prints. I mean, it's kind of a waste to give them shoes. So
Wait,
maybe those are.
Cassandra, what did you just say?
It's a waste to give them shoes?
No, before that.
If it walks like a corpse and doesn't wear shoes?
If it smells like a corpse. That scent from the axe was so pungent, there was no way to ignore it. What you suggested before, if they were defending themselves with the axe, then whatever creature this must be must still have a gaping wound that reeks of just rot and festering fungus. Perhaps we can use that to find it.
Follow the smell. Not a bad idea.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. So we'll follow the smell and we should be able to find, hopefully, the still injured thing that attacked all of this. Right?
Well, and Catherine said something about dead things, so.
Okay.
Or not dead things.
Rain, if you could give me a survival check, only because after having the mud or the footprints revealed, it's you could do a little survival or nature to figure out where the mud came from.
Could I go with nature instead of survival?
Yes, you can. It's like not 20.
Oh.
See, there we go.
I mean, no, never, no survival, just only survival. So your tracking skills, remember, it's nighttime, it's not the greatest, it's been raining. Remember, it's raining a lot. So your assumption is like, I can't really track the prints. Like in here, sure. Outside, probably not.
Yeah.
So you do your little you kind of pick the mud up, rub it between your fingers, take a deep breath of it, because muds have different smells. And in a few moments, you realize this probably came from the marsh area. It has that marshy area that you had to pass to get here.
Well, at least we don't have to go far. This seems like it's from the marsh. I mean, it's not exactly my favorite place to visit at night, but perhaps it retreated back there?
We can't let undead wander around in the wilderness attacking people. I mean, Cassandra, you know more about this than I do. This does not look like a mindless attack. This body has been desecrated. There is an intelligence here that, I mean, even to plant the poor tiefling woman up against the lumbering machines like that, Though very stupid, because, I mean, if you really think about it, no one's going to turn there and go, oh, look, someone fell into the lumbering machine. And then at the same time go, let's ignore this giant carved person. So it seems a bit weird, but it's very meticulous.
Yeah, look, I mean, we kind of know it's not any of the, so of the things I listed and what I think it might be, it's not a stupid one.
A tiny wizard
Very
has
good.
cast silence on the GM. We shall kill it.
So we're not dealing with
Nope,
someone
nope,
stupid.
still there. Gotta come here.
No. Yeah. So you wouldn't, Carla, sorry about that. You wouldn't definitely not think it's one of the mindless or a like an animated dead spell or something like that. That wouldn't be in this sector like that. This is definitely a creature that has thought and put thought forward. So vampire, wraith, ghast, are a few that just kind of pop out in your head.
I mean, there was boot footprints in the mud, so maybe the undead were doing someone's bidding as well.
A necromancer.
I definitely was there. Sorry, Jared. Just thinking back, when we just kind of assumed it was the priestess, that she was the necromancer that brought, and they used the puddle. Okay. There's none of that like Chris. No, because none of these were reanimated. Okay, never mind.
It's okay.
I'm gonna say yes. The boots definitely look like someone was here, and someone would need to bring them back up. But from the smell and sort of, so sorry, Nixon, from the body and things by Bessa, it is probably an undead creature with a mind of its own, and so it's dangerous by itself. It no longer necessarily needs the necromancer.
Looking at I just got an idea. Looking at the boot prints, can I figure out like what size shoes they are? And like what size person?
Okay. You know what? Because I kind of see where you're going with this. You're looking for the size, but I'm gonna one up you. Do me a favor and roll a tailor check, because you have that
crafting?
ability. Crafting, yeah.
He has 2 peg legs.
Yeah.
Please be someone really tall. Malfollow.
So when you're looking at these boots, like the boot print, these are not workman's boots, right? Like these aren't worker boots. They don't have that same build to them. You look around and you're able in the mud using Rain's help to like even try and like look through the mud. You're able to pull out a single thread, one thread, and it's a very fine thread, and that's important to you because you're a stitch witch. And it's this royal, very nice blue, and that's something A, none of these people are wearing, right? And B, this kind of blue it's not something like workers from here would wear. It's more of a high quality thread.
I'll hold up the thread and be like, I think we're looking for somebody higher class, dressed nice. So, it doesn't happen to be like what Baylor was wearing.
Oh, sadly, no, it's not. It's you figured me out this whole time. No, so no, actually, speaking on that, you look around, you realize it's probably from an upper crust. like upper society. And now the wheels are all turning. You have the vendors, which being a part of the town, even going out and collecting people to help out with the theater. They're on your list of people. The daughter Catherine came here, saw the dead bodies. It could be part of that, like upper crust society. And that so that's an option.
Just for
along
some extra information, when Rain and Cassandra went to the house, what color uniform was the attendant wearing?
It was, well, first he was in his nightgown, and then he did change second time into very fine pants. But sadly they were not blue. They were a khaki color. And he was wearing a nice evening coat. The coat itself was black, so it was khaki and black. No blue.
Because his blue attire was covered in blood.
Yeah, mud. It makes sense. Yeah. So, also behind that, don't forget, Baylor did say they had someone already in custody.
Oh, right.
So that person's in custody. And then there were the two other murders that Baylor is now is saying that they're linked, or he's claiming they're linked, but Marvolo thinks Baylor is secretly murdering everyone.
I mean, he's known about the murders. He's got a suspect. I mean, this guy is like so switched onto this investigation, and then he's like, "Oh yeah, now you guys go do it." I'm like, "Oh, no.
Checking his work.
I mean, even if I didn't hate his guts, I'd still suspect him.
Yeah.
Look at this guy doing his job. How dare he?
Yeah. Yeah, but it reeks to me of like the small town cop creating crimes so he can solve them. Like,
it's true.
Yeah. It just reads of it, and I'm just like, I'm so suspect. I wanted to go on record now that I suspect that the killer is definitely Baylor Hemlock.
I feel like if we had the option, Marvolo would have hit the alert button and voted Baylor.
Baylor is sus.
Baylor is sus.
Yeah, I will await my accolades once we arrest him and put him to the gallows.
So the evening it's now getting very late into the evening.
So I was gonna say, so I think we need to decide whether or not we are going to go after whatever this smell is now, or are we gonna wait till the morning?
Go now.
Now?
Yeah. I think while it's fresh, because otherwise we're gonna lose it, especially in this rain.
All right.
I will say just two things. As soon as Nixon says it's rich, high class fabric, I'm gonna be like, ha mother, and then I realize that I just called myself not high class, but I'm still gonna be like,
oh,
see.
I didn't think it was you. I believed you. You're my friend. Also, I know that you were working all night, just as I was working all night.
And then when they say, let's go chase it tonight, I say, those are great ideas. But also, if it's a vampire, morning might be better. But
does vampire do this to bodies?
I've got an idea. And Nexon's gonna like start pulling out string and like kind of mapping out this like design on the floor, and then she's going to sit in it and kind of concentrate. She's like, this will take a few minutes, and I'm going to cast augury.
Ooh.
Okay.
Nice.
Fascinating.
Well,
So
yes.
Gives a glimpse into the future for up to 30 minutes. ask about the results of particular course of action. So I will focus on if going after this smell,
Mhm.
like what if this is a good course of plan.
Yeah, so going into the trance, following the strands, and reaching out into the ether, asking the spirits for guidance. The spirit is going to say it is woe. Remember, wheel or woe or inconclusive. It's supposed to be a neutral woe, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like whoa, oh no, everyone's gonna die. But as per your question, should you follow it? It's gonna say whoa.
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 I don't think I don't think we're really gonna get much out of following the scent. Or if we do, it's not gonna be good or helpful.
All right. Well, I think this is what we can get for now. Maybe we should rest up and come back in the morning. If there have been other murders, maybe there is another connection to poor Harker. I think he is the key, as are you, Rain.
Me, I let's just pretend that love note didn't happen. Maybe he accidentally meant to send it to someone else and wrote my name on accident. I mean, or maybe there's like a million Rains here. Rain for a while was a very, very popular name. I'm just saying there are options besides me.
Have we also considered maybe that Harker may possibly have been from the kingdom of Sorshen? Lust? Explains his infidelity and why murder and the rune. Look, I don't want to think about it any more than you do, and suffice to say, we do not have very many friends or even family here. I am going to look out for you, and I'm sure I speak for everyone when I say that turning a blind eye to this is too dangerous. We should keep you safe, and if it's okay with you, I would like you to maybe stay with Kalodi, just to put my own mind at ease.
I understand.
Yeah.
But her tent smells like herbs.
It can,
Nice smell.
it can be like a sleepover.
Right. It'll be fine. I just
Maybe.
I don't know why this is happening. Like, why now? Why us? Why all of this all of a sudden?
Well, as they say, Lisala works in mysterious ways.
It's not. How do we unmysteriousness it? Make it less mysterious.
By getting a good night's sleep, I think.
Yeah. Maybe you and Kalodi want to stay in the tavern, and less, on the outskirts of town where it's quiet and lone and solitudinal. Besides, if it is necromancy, I can help. I can unmake some things. So me and Kalodi will look after you. Because, and I'm so sorry to say this, Rain, but you don't. So he's missing a piece of skin. And the paper.
Yeah. Okay. No, I get it. It's all bad. It's all. Oh, that's where. Okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. No, you're
I
right.
mean, technically it's paper.
No, let's not. Yeah, I get it. Okay. Your point is made. Your point. You're right. You're right. I don't deal with the death, the whole death thingy. No, but you are brilliant and brave, and your tavern is well lit. So Kalodi and I and Twila will stay there.
Perfect. And then I'm gonna just try and make it like quite bright and cheerful. And I'll be like, oh, and I can show you the flowers I picked for my perfume, and you can help me make the best mixture. And then I'm going to say, so that it covers sometimes the smell I get. That's kind of like this rotten. And we can make a nice mixture. And I'm just like, it's going to be so fun. Sleepovers.
Be way better. And not that scary.
And then I'm also going to nudge Kalodi.
Yeah, no, and we can play cards.
Yeah, cards. I played cards before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So making your way back to the city, back to the town, sorry. Again, now rain is sporadic. And rain, you make your way back. Everyone kind of settles into the tavern. Kalodi has decided to stay with you and kind of keep an eye out. And everyone has a very safe and restful evening, all except Marvolo, who has terrible nightmares of Baylor ending his friend. He has nightmares of that and of grief, of losing himself to the change, to everything else. The next morning, it's actually sunny for once. It hasn't been sunny in days, and ironically, on a very strange turn of events, it's fairly nice out. People coming in and out all over the streets. Cassandra, as you kind of get up and start your day, Baylor enters. And he looks at Cassandra and he says, ma'am, I need you and your friends to come to the station with me. I have some strange turn of events that I think we need to speak about. If you could come as fast as possible, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
And this time, I'm going to ask a question.
There you go.
Yeah, good job. Sorry, Sheriff Baylor. Stranger than last night? So like extra strange or about the same strange?
We now connecting the murders, I think we might have a possible lead on what's going on, but I wish to speak to you all at the sheriff's station. Please come at your earliest convenience. I would greatly appreciate that, ma'am.
Sure. At the sheriff's station, all together, that's where we need to go.
And then he looks at you, and then he looks around the room, and he doesn't see Kalodi or anyone else, and he leans in and he says, maybe Marvolo shouldn't come. He was friends with the last Skin Store man.
Okay, I do hear that. But it would look very strange if we were to go somewhere without Marvolo. He generally always comes with us. And also, might I put forward that if they're happening again, maybe his friend wasn't the bad guy?
He kind of nods and he says, I'll let you take lead on this one. And I trust your advice. I just don't trust Marvolo.
Look, it's always safe to have some healthy suspicions of other people. Sorry, I don't do that with my face. My face doesn't do that. That's Carter's face. Safety first, but he's always protected us. And so I'll bring him. And, let's just be kind with how we speak about Jervis. perhaps in the light of the fact that there's another set.
Mm. Have you noticed anything strange with him, Marvolo?
So, and then I'm going to basically ask the same question. So when you say strange, do you mean strange? So define strange.
At this point, Amiko kind of comes into the room and like says, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Everything okay?" And he looks at you, and then he says, "Strange." And then he looks at Amiko. He says, "Ma'am, have a good morning. I'll see you later." And then he nods in your general direction and just leaves. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn to Miko and say, Sheriff Baylor needs us to go and assist there. I'll take extra shifts tonight, or I'm really sorry.
Miko,
sorry about yesterday.
Miko walks over, puts her hands on your shoulder, and says, "It's fine. Everything you've done for me and my family, it's the least I could do. I'll just have to make up and figure out who else I could get to drum up entertainment for us. But don't worry about it. Take as much time as you need. And we're family here. Don't worry. I trust you."
I know it's, and then I'm gonna give her a hug, and then I'm gonna
Mhm.
exit the room, and I'm gonna say, thanks, Amiko, and then I'm gonna come back and I say, I know it might not work, or maybe it could work, but there is a goblin at the theater. He seemed very friendly, and he likes people.
That's actually not a bad idea. With the whole goblin raids and everything, maybe bringing a goblin in that isn't aggressive might show not all goblins are like that, and it could start to build friendship and bond between the townsfolk and the goblin folk. And that's actually not a bad plan. I'll get right on. And he's at the goblins at the theater.
Yes, he was assigned to be a backstage person.
Oh, a stagehand. Awesome. Yeah, I'm sure they could definitely do something. We could figure something out. But please, I know you're busy. You got called out late last night. So please, again, take as much. And then she goes, "Oh, wait, one moment." And then she goes to the back, and then she kind of comes back out, and she has like some bread, some dried meats and cheese, and she hands it to you in like a little wrapped, bundle. And she says, "Here, have, in case of lunch. Sounds like you're gonna have a long day."
And then I'm just gonna hug her again because I like her. And then I'm gonna say, "Great, and if there's another fire, I'll send everybody here." And then I realized that came out really weird. And I'm gonna go get Rain. Boop, boop, boop.
Yep. So as you leave, you kind of start to collect the group, and everyone, at this point has been awoken and been collected. Marvolo looks perfectly fine because he's wearing his mask and does not look like he had a bad night's rest, although he had. And so you are bringing Marvolo to Baylor.
Yes, but when I fetch Marvolo, I'm going to say, if you antagonize Baylor or make this investigation any harder than it is, and then because I know he's a little bit wary of me, I'm gonna lean in and I'm gonna like put out like a little bit of necromancy in my hands, and I'll be like, "I'll do some necromancy to you." Not really, but I'll make life uncomfortable.
Malvolo's standing at his front door. He's got like a half-eaten piece of buttered toast. He's kind of just looking stunned. Okay.
Be polite.
I will be polite. Sorry.
Good.
It's just hard, Jervis was a friend, and Baylor, he does not trust me because I was friends with Jervis. Did you know that they tore down all of his birds? He used to carve small birds, Cassandra. I kept them all. Even after the people of this town turned on him, after everything he had done. He used to tell me that he'd carved these because the wood would speak to him, and that there were tiny birds trapped in the grain. This person did not have a violent bone in his body. And before anything could be asked, Baylor took his life. I had Jervis. We had him. He was not a threat. He was not a danger. I will be cordial, but don't ask me to forgive or to forget what Baylor has done, because I just cannot do that. Not now. And I'm afraid if I'll ever be able to.
Yeah, I'll take his hand and give it like a squeeze and say, no one's asking for forgiveness, and it's people sometimes think what they see from the outside is the only solution. But I did mention that, if there's another set of murders, it can, I know it's little comfort after he's gone, but we could clear his name. And then we'll hang his birds everywhere. That's what we'll do.
Malvolo,
And then I'll squish his hand again.
Malvolo does something that he hasn't done since even Nexon has known him. He will take off his mask and look Cassandra in the eyes. There's kind of like these very, very thick bags on his eyes. Malvolo is an olive-skinned man, very, very gaunt, actually. He does not eat very much because he only ever eats food that he prepares with his own hands. The whole hygiene thing. And he says, "Thank you. And for what it's worth, there is no one in this town that I trust more than you. Because whether you're a necromancer or someone who builds weapons of death, like me and my family, learning to trust others, despite their past, is a very difficult thing to ask of others. And I consider you a friend, and would never think twice about trusting you." Oh, God. There's so much pollen in the air. He puts his mask back on.
Cassandra's gonna... she's like, I don't... hug, hand squish. And then she's probably just gonna stand there, like, just frozen. He took his mask off. I don't know what to do.
Let's just get going before he closes his door and he'll just start leaving. Where am I going?
Yeah.
We're going to the sheriff.
He turns around.
So Marvolo revealing their face to Cassandra, outside of his character. This is the first time that's ever been seen. Marvolo puts the mask back on, correct? Or you're now free of
no.
mask.
He's put the mask back on. It's to emphasize the trust.
Yes,
the trust in Cass. Because there was also that scene in the previous one where Cass was about to run from the town, and Malvolo was there as well, and he knows that Malvolo knows he was also kind of in a similar situation where when people start blaming you for stuff, it can go down such a nasty road, and he didn't want Cass to go through that, and Cass stuck around because of what Mal said. So in the same way, he's going to follow what she's suggesting, and he's going to be cordial, and he's going to try his best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna sort of through the door because I feel bad now. I'm gonna say, I was never gonna cast necromantic things on you. Besides, you're not dead, so I wouldn't be able to. Now that sounds like I'm gonna murder you. Oh my, okay, we should go. We should go.
Yeah. Having now collected the group heading back to the sheriff's garrison, the sheriff place, kind of make your way quickly in. It's not massive, right? Like this isn't like a fortress. It's large, but it's not huge. You kind of make your way. You're able to see the sheriff fairly quickly. He looks at everyone. Seeing Marvolo, he's taken back, and then he kind of glares at you slightly before he glares at you, Cassandra, before saying, "Thank you for coming." So, reason why I asked everyone here is, like I said, there were murders previous, and I didn't think anything of them. I just thought, it had to deal with the maybe goblins that were coming from Thistletop after you've cleared them out, or possibly other raiders. And having seen the bodies from last night, I now suspect it's best to show you. Please follow me. And he takes a set of keys off his table, heads out, takes you down winding staircase, and now it starts to get cooler. The cool air of going underneath ground walks through. You see a number of cells where they probably keep people who drink too much for the evening and such, and takes you to a back door. He unlocks it, takes you inside, looks around the room, and what you see are 3 bodies, all of them covered with a sheet. He walks you to the table and he pulls the sheet back. And all 3 men, as he reveals each one, have the 7-pointed star carved into their chest. He hands you, he kind of holds out a letter, and he gives it to Nexon. And again, it's written on similar paper as the previous letter. This time, Rain's name is not on it. As you open it, same handwriting as the letter Rain received. And it says, Messer, Mortwell, Hask, and Tabe. A deal has come about that I need capital for. It involves property and gold. And though I am not at liberty to tell you the exact details, it will make us all rich. Come to Bradley's barn on Kruger Creek tonight. We can meet there to discuss our futures. Signed, Your Lordship. That's the same signature that was signed for Rain's lovely letter. And that's where we'll end this session of Rise of the Runelords in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank my amazing players. I want to thank our sponsors, Hero Forge. I want to thank, of course, Paizo for creating this adventure, Sirenscape for giving us the amazing sounds that we have going. And yeah, so I'm going to throw it over to my players so they can tell you where you can find them, where they're not playing this super creepy adventure. And where you can find them. They have amazing stuff. So as always, I'm going to throw it over to the amazing Dawn. Dawn?
Hey, I'm Dawn, and when I'm not here, you can find me over at youtube.com/roll4initiative, where I make videos with my partner Ryan, all about tabletop RPGs and our other geeky interests. And you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram, R4iVlog.
What's up? I'm Becca Godsey. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Becca Godsey, and you can also find me on Twitch at XCausticPhoenix, where later today we'll be playing Destiny, but definitely talking about today's game. Definitely, maybe a little bit of therapy talk afterwards about all the things that happened.
Poor Rain. I'm Carla, and you can find me at DumDumDie, spelled DumDumDie. We play on Twitch every Tuesday night, South African time, an interactive homebrew where people in the chat can get involved, and then we put it onto a podcast. And we also have a serial killer on the loose, but my players are focused on running away from a wedding because players. So come join us.
And my name is Michael. I am the Dead Aussie Gamer. This is my place. This is my face. And you can see it here playing a whole bunch of different games. You can also find me on YouTube, where I give a whole bunch of advice on role-playing in general. I'm actually about to embark on a very large project of mine. As many of you know, I love Through the Breach as a role-playing game, and I will be doing a series of rules breakdowns, tutorial videos, going through the books, the characters, the lore. I'm going to basically put everything under the sun and more onto my YouTube channel. So go check that out if you've seen Through the Breach and are interested in that. Plus, if you want to watch this, we also have the Dead Aussie Gamer live channel, where we post all of the videos for posterity forever. So go and watch it there if you've missed previous episodes, or if you'd like to watch this one again. Because I definitely am going to watch this one again for no reason. Baylor.
And I'm your host with the most, your GM Jared, and I could be found on Twitch at NVNG, where every other Wednesday we play Agents of Edgewatch or do some random gibberish. You could also find us on Instagram and Twitter at NVNG Podcast. So again, thank you to everyone. Thank you to all of the amazing people here, our loyal fans and friends who keep coming back to find out where this mystery goes. And of course, Sirenscape, thank you for the sound. Hero Forge for the amazing minis, and of course Paizo for the game. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day or evening. Bye.
Sweet.
Jared, can you throw that letter into chat?
And I muted myself, so you didn't hear me say sorry. And yes, I apologize.
Oh, no worries. It was so helpful with the first one. I was madly trying to write it down. I was like, oh, okay.
The wild game tonight. Ugh. Today.
I apologize. The original letter, the one Rain got, was also signed Your Lordship. So that was on me. Yeah.
Well, at least he's fancy.
Yeah, it's all fancy.
Fancy clothes and fancy handwriting on very unique, rare paper.
Very rare paper.
I'm just like, if this was a message for them, like, why would you? Yeah, I'm just like, why is it on?